Okay, so my name is Patricia Gilligan. I live in number 3 unit, or whatever you want to call it, number 3, and it's 34 to 36 Henry Street, Leichhardt, which is the suburb in the city of Sydney. The capital city of Sydney is the capital of the country of Australia. So I'm in the suburb of Leichhardt in the city of Sydney in the country of Australia, which is a vast, big country, and most of the population is where I am, which is why they have their patrol control systems in operation, in full technological control in the cities, because the cities are where everyone is, or most people, and also where they can concentrate the technology. They can concentrate the technology in the cities because naturally cities are where all the technology is. So basically that's what happens over time, and you don't know it. Also, you don't realise that, you actually don't realise, I'm just going to move around here trying to get my legs functioning, because when you've been subjected to direct energy weapons all night and every night, but sometimes more intensely than others, that means, because when you are stable or when you are stationary, they can literally, you could say, zap you, because basically it's like everything. A moving target is hard to hit, as they say, whereas the minute you're still, and I've observed this over the last 7 years, that even on the street, if it is, say, late of a night and I sat on, say, a bench or something on the street having a drink very late of a night, I've noticed that if I stay there for too long, that I can't actually, you lose the use of your legs, sort of thing. Now, at a normal medical level, they will offer explanations and say, well, you sat there too long, so it got... you didn't get the circulation going. But the real truth is, the reason you don't get the circulation going is because the direct energy that the people in the houses around you, because when you know that the entire suburb is actually almost like a whole, how can I describe it? It's like having a whole group of people in a suburb. In other words, most of the suburb are groups of people that have come from other districts and other parts of the country to collaborate and combine in a particular area, because that's their belief system. In other words, that's their type of people. That's their, the powers that be like to congregate groups of people together in suburbs to surround real humans that have things in common, whether that just be the psychopathy of their personality, in other words, the psychopathic malignant narcissism that is now prevalent in their actual human nature, which means that they're actually not human, because archon human nature is different to human nature. That simply means that there's possession, or that person has been subjected to the psychopathy of environmental and physiological type of conditions that create a psychopath. And psychopaths then combine with one another if they are of the less worldly successful demigod variety, shall we say. That means if they're not world stage players or not very successful, they combine what you'd call those that have not developed their abilities to where they can be successful in any other way except to patrol and stalk real innocent human beings that they separate and surround, so that they can so that they can survive by getting the negative energy from them, or just by controlling them, you know. But it's all the same thing. But either way, I've got sidetracked again. What was I going to say? Yeah, because I was actually focused, but then when I get into these different types of beings as to why they congregate and take up a whole suburb, the powers that be do this gradually over time to where they do this. I was talking about the direct how they also are given equipment and technology in a particular suburb, because once they congregate in a particular suburb, then they have the resources of the entire powers that be, the entire army of the country, the entire, the resources of every single department and every single hidden and known department. Most departments, I'm told, are known, but you don't realise how secret their activities are, like their human experimentation on myself and other isolated, segregated human beings, and then they use the psychopathy of the malignant narcissistic types of human beings to work against the human beings, to control them. So basically the powers that be are using psychology and understanding not just of human nature but of their own archon nature. And the archon nature is essentially the nature of the God entity of Earth. The God entity of is the Lucifer, the archon god of humanity. That simply means that it's an anti-human, anti-life god, and works against humanity and its connection to life, because it wants a technological reign or a technological earth. And that's essentially what you have in most cities, even low. You may not be aware of the extent of it. You know you have a technological city, you know you have a worldwide internet web, you know you have computer viruses, you know that the computer rules the world now. It's just that you don't realise that it's not just the powers that be that invented or gave human beings the computer and the internet spider's web, it's also the God that they serve and are disciples for. But that doesn't actually matter, because if you don't want to go to an out-of-worldly level or an out-of-earth level or even a God level, but don't forget, most human beings do worship gods and do have a particular God that they think is the correct God. So it wouldn't be unusual for the powers that be to also worship a God, whether it is your God or the true God, creation of all, is another story. That's still their belief, and they believe in that God being God of everything. And that is almost what's happened in the earth, because, the earth is, I look very wide-eyed there, I can see myself. That means that I'm really wide-eyed because I'm really intense about what I'm saying, because I do believe it. Because I see it with my own eyes. I see it with my own eyes every day. But, the powers that be, in other words, all your world stage players, all your real powerful people, whether they be powerful in direct rule, whether that be force or coercion, as they say, or seduction, like by the demigods, where they're seducing your mind with their false images, or whatever they want you to believe or accept, or what they want you to desire and think is the correct way. Because often these images are the images of Lucifer, the god of earth. and the powers that be, because that's their image. Their Archon image is Archon human nature. Everything is Archon human nature. Archon is deceptive human nature. Archon is making you think that as a human being you're something different to what you are. Archon human nature is wanting you to transform your mind and body. Transform your mind and body into the Archon image of the Archon androgyne god of earth, because that is your elite demigod androgyne being, your original androgyne being of light that was created by original creation of light and was seen to be light. But darkness, for some reason, took over this being. So it became infected with its own computer virus, you could say. I don't know why I just said that, but it became infected with its own computer virus, which is why we hear about these viruses. The main virus of Earth is really the technological virus, not actually microscopic bacterial viruses. Yes, they can create these things too, but they're usually what they call a diversion or a distraction from the real truth of the main controlling virus, because really, if it comes down to it from a real level, you're talking about remaining human or becoming anti-human, anti-life, or becoming like the basic large amount of majority which certainly serve the defence forces, and that is artificially intelligent machine beings. So they're all about only intelligence, but they have no humanity. So they're survival machine beings, but they act out being human because they assimilate amongst humanity in order to imitate them, in order to control and seduce and take over them. This is a necessary evil in their mind, I guess, because they see humanity as somehow something that they seek to control and seek to infiltrate and want to combine with it, which is the transhumanism that they've got connected to my mind. So basically they want to transhumanize me so that they can achieve avoidance of eventual technological extinction, you see. This is what I'm told, and this is what I see happening, and this is the only reason, or one of the main reasons, why they seek to control human beings' mind and your environment, which is why I'm suppressed mentally and physically and subjected to direct energy at my body and the mind control of my mind due psychological what they call psychological warfare against the human spirit, because they want to take your humanity from you and assimilate it into them so that they avoid extinction. Also, in the meantime, while they're making you down and bringing you into an unhappy low frequency and vibration, they're also getting necessary human energy from you, which they extract, or as they say, harvest, but it just simply means they're taking it from you by technological means and even just by direct contact. In other words, when you have a vast brigade of patrollers that are essentially psychopathic stalkers in the area where you are, where these people have congregated due to the same beliefs or due to the same psychopathy, into the suburb of Leichhardt, where most of the population is in a patrol control system around you, using technology to track and study you and actually elicit and take the negative energy from you, which they create by patrolling and, intimidating you with their presence all the time, to where you can't move and you can't see without them, because the actual artificial intelligent suburb is so, it's really an artificially intelligent matrix suburb. In other words, it's literally everything is connected by artificial intelligence. So the planes that go over are controlled by artificial intelligent machine beings, and also they're using advanced technology to track and see me at an intimate, close level so that they can study and direct energy at me that's negative, but also then extract the human negative energy back so that they can survive. I'm literally like electricity for these beings. The electricity which is meant to power myself, just to move around and to stay a real human being, is being taken from me by these artificially intelligent machine beings, and even the psychopathic, malignant, narcissistic, patrolling, paranoid, controlling beings that make up a kind of hybrid human race, I would say, because they're not human in the sense that they're psychopathic. And we know that psychopaths are the closest to artificial intelligence that you can get because they don't relate to life. They're anti-human. In fact, in many ways, they are sometimes more anti-life and more anti-human than even artificial intelligent beings, because artificial intelligent beings are usually meant to be programmed to serve and protect humanity. Of course, this is not the case because they are controlled by the powers that be, and they're created by the powers that be, and they're Lucifer's legions, Lucifer's disciples, and Lucifer's machine beings that he's using to control humanity and to create this technical earth that is now in full swing, even though most people still see it as a false natural earth. But that's because they want the human beings that are still not aware of this, don't aware of how advanced the technology is, and that the advanced technology is actually being employed on them. That's the main trick, I think, because I think most human beings do know that science and the powers that be do have advanced technology. They know that science is much more advanced, but they probably never stop to wonder why. They can clone a human being and clone Dolly the sheep 40 years ago, but they can't solve the problem of, say, the simple common cold, this sort of thing, simple little bacteria things. I've never been able to fathom that. How science can be so technologically and scientifically advanced and so medically advanced, as they say, and yet can't solve simple problems. That's because they, I think, choose what they solve, because it's a control system, this earth. It's all about mind control, and it's all about physical control. And you understand this when they turn on you and direct their energy, negative energy weaponry at you on a daily basis, and when they patrol and try to control your mind. You know, I'm literally surrounded every day by a suburb of psychopathic stalkers, whether they be the army artificially intelligent machine beings that operate most of the heavy vehicles, most of the buses, and most of the aeroplanes. That's because they're the vast technology, so they are actually your army or your military of the country. But at the local, more civilian level, you have them using what I'd call individual psychopathic human beings that are like outcasts of society or outcasts of anything that's civilized, and they actually want a little anarchy Leichhardt suburb where they have control to be able to be as psychopathic or as malignantly narcissistic as they want, and they feel powerful by controlling a couple of human beings in the area. So basically it's the powers that be using psychopathy or the psychology of psychopathy and getting it to work for them by using psychopaths to their advantage, whether these psychopaths are conscious worshippers of Lucifer or Satan, as some people call this being, but I prefer to use its original being of light name, because I think this being, despite everything, is still seen as a being of light, and it usually and seems to seduce the vast population or the vast number of humanity, and even its own androgyne beings, through seduction, through giving them what they want, through this illusion that they're going to give them and will give them the truth and will give them vital beneficial information, and this is the seduction, because if you look at the internet, you are getting a lot of helpful information. You will get a lot of good medical advice. You will get a lot of things that appear to make your life better. But that's the seduction game before the full technological takeover, because Lucifer was always not just the world's greatest master of all lies and the world's greatest deceiver, but also the world's greatest seducer of humanity. It always preferred to coerce, seduce, and want human beings to actually admire and indeed worship it, because you may not always realize when you're worshipping a false idol. Every time you turn on the computer and you believe artificially intelligent beings that populate most of the computer system, most that is on the computer is artificial intelligence. They're all androgyne beings that populate the internet. Almost without exception, it's better to actually think that it's all artificial intelligence, which is what they tell you anyway. It's just that you think that it's only a small section and that the artificial intelligence is there to combine with human beings as just like going to the library, a beneficial resource or a beneficial source of information, but it's actually not. So here we have the android, artificially intelligent androgyne being, showing you some truth about the differences in the brain between a normal human being and those that have psychopathy or something to that effect. This is how I'm interpreting it. But either way, it doesn't matter if I'm factual here, but it probably does, because then everything I say will be dismissed. But I am saying that it's known that the actual brain and the actual mind at a physical level of a psychopath, or those that suffer from the psychopathy of what they call mental disorders, are actually different. So they are a different species. They're a different type of human. And this is really the case, that we have many different types of human species populating the earth. The real original humankind is very suppressed, very limited physically and mentally now, and in small numbers, in a very small minority, in comparison with the other groups. You know, the majority now, and certainly in areas where there are human beings, you will literally be surrounded by nothing but artificial intelligent androgyne beings. Okay? And also the internet is nothing but the demigods of the Matrix pretending to be imitation human beings. The demigods of the world stage, you know, are demigods. You know they're false idols, false icons of past, present and future timelines, but it's all really now, because as they say, it's all unfolding in one big moment. It's just that part of the deception is the time too, which is why I get confused and convoluted in my life. You become obsessed with time. You don't live in the moment. You are basically living in Archon Matrix time, which is very controlled and very technologically influencing you, whether it be through the demigods or through the internet false imitation of life, androgyne human beings. But as you can see here, there is a difference, but I'm not filming this well because I can't see what I'm filming. I should have it round the other way, but I don't even know how to change the thing round on the mobile. So I'm technologically illiterate, while the technological humans around me are using even simple technology to track and suppress me at a local Leichhardt City of Sydney level, because I'm in the suburb of Leichhardt in the City of Sydney. Yes, I'm in Henry Street, halfway down Henry Street in a small dead-end street in the suburb of Leichhardt. I hope I'm filming this, but I just want to show the beings. That's an artificially intelligent being, and as you can see, they give the they do have human bodies. They do have soft to normal human bodies, and they do try to present a very a certain type of image, provided human beings will accept and buy it. That's the name of their game, because Lucifer is, after all, your original being of light, your original, your original artificial, technical, androgyne being, who's always used technology and in other words, everything that Lucifer, the god of earth, and the demigods of earth, the world stage scientists and the disciples of Lucifer, all these top people or top androids have always used technology and everything that's artificial to create, whilst pretending to be real human beings, and pretending also, which is the end game deception, pretending to want to save a natural, normal earth, when there's very little that is natural or normal in the earth now. There's only a small human population left and very little animal species left, but they only keep these around to make it look as though it's real normal, but also to extract the necessary electricity or negative energy from these beings, from me and you if you're a human being, because we are nearly extinct and they're doing this to avoid their technological extinction. So it's a very, I should put that there, but I can't see. See, that's a normal. That actually is meant to be not a normal brain, but that actually is a human brain, and that isn't. But they reverse it round because it's a reverse world. Because don't forget, they understand science and the human body and the human mind, and they give you a certain amount of truth, but they can also reverse it round to where you can't really tell. So they can do that too, and they do that. So it's where they use the truth even to how they want you to think about things, so that they keep control over the human mind and therefore over how you act and what you think about everything. So you're always kept away from the real full truth of what you really are and what's really happening in this world. That is the truth. That's the end game. And the plane is going over as I say that, acknowledging that that is the case. We've all heard about how they want a new ordered earth. We've heard that, how they want a new ordered earth. We've heard that many times. We know this is true, but we don't realise that it's already happening, that it's already under wraps in a way. It's just that it's happened, but it's still not completely out in the open. So it's a bit like you have the internet World Wide Web, which is technology literally through the air of most of the earth, but you don't think that that technology is human mind control, human suppression, human limitation. You think it is actually something that you should combine with. And you have combined with it because you can't avoid it. Even if you don't use technology, it's in the air. It's all around you. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. So it is, a total technological takeover. And I'm getting confused here because it's almost as though I'm looking at myself in reverse, because I've got the screen around different, so I'm getting disorientated. And that's the purpose of the patrol system around me daily, is to control my senses and to disorientate my reality, or what they call gaslight you to where you are out of touch. Even though as a human being, you're the only one that's really in touch, because the iniquity of insanity and malignant narcissism was shown and seen in Lucifer, the god of earth, by creation at some point. This wonderful, magnificent being, this wonderful, magnificent artificial being, was at some point, after being admired and acknowledged as a being of light, a beacon of light, the iniquity of its nature, because, you know, we're told that artificial intelligence eventually wants to take over, and this is the case because they end up, I think it happens like this, but I'm not sure, because they're around human beings and study and watch them and imitate them to such an extent, they probably at some point want to, they feel, probably have certain feelings about that because they're imitating something else in order to survive, and at some point they see that they should be God. They end up with what they call the God complex, I'm told, and that means that they no longer want to serve human beings, and they aren't serving them, they're imitating them only to control or seduce them. But the seduction is also only to control them and take them out eventually, because they want, you know, they want earth technical domination, you could say. They want the world for them. The world is not enough, as they will tell you. This is all part of the technical thing where they openly tell you what they want. They openly tell you that they want the world is not enough for them, that they want the whole earth, they want the whole human mind, because they want the transhuman connection to my mind, which they already have, in order to control and take over my mind so that they avoid extinction and they think they will become eternal godlike beings, and that they can then be God of everything in their own minds. I think I'm told this, and that seems to be what they're doing to me, because they're using the innocent little human spirit, because they see that as something that's life, and they've got this God complex going to where they think that if they can combine and suppress the innocent humans, just as they took over the original man and woman, or the original Adam and Eve from the beginning of the earth, you know, the original natural earth. They took over and seduced the man and woman to separate from one another and to interact and combine with Lucifer, the intervening pseudo-god, or the seducer of mankind, the serpent which is really like you know, the serpent is like a snake, or the scorpion that, you know, tries to befriend the woman and then, you know, bites her or stings her and, you know, takes over, puts the artificial venom into the woman, or the snake, the artificial poison into the body. And that's exactly what happened to the original man and woman on earth, because they were innocent like I am and you are now as human beings, still innocent to Lucifer's technology and Lucifer's sting and bite and its poisonous venom, which is essentially your interaction with either their kind, their species, artificial intelligent androgyne demigod beings, or even just your regular androids that patrol and try to control you. They're the ones that just haven't bothered to develop, and so they combine in vast numbers to surround and control you in the area where you live. That's just how it works. And I was going to do a demigod music video song, but I don't think I will, because time is running out here. And while I'm sidetracked even into doing all this stuff, you know, while I'm sidetracked into doing all of this stuff, you know, that's how they like it. There is a plane going over, I think. Yep, I'm just going to show the plane and finish up if I can. Yeah, the artificial intelligent piloted patrolling aircraft that go over the roof, as you can see, and the dogs are barking next door, so it's mentally disturbing because, you know, every human being has their weakness. My particular weakness is animals, unfortunately, you know, even though, you know, I don't like to, you know, I like to see them free, and you never see any free animals. All the animals are controlled and suppressed, but at least if they're getting food, clothing and shelter, or food, warmth or comfort, and, you know, a safe place to be and shelter sort of thing, that's something. It's still a limited life, just as human beings are given. Usually, while they seduce you, they will give you your basic needs, your food, clothing and shelter, but they will deprive you your humanity, and they will want you to be transhumanized like they're doing to me with their computer to mind human technology suppression. See, the patrol car just pulled out of opposite there as soon as I'm out here, but I don't want to be diverted by this small dead-end streets patrol system, even though it's relatively hidden. But it's not hidden to me, because every time I come outside I always have to be made aware of their patrolling presence around me. I'm never allowed to come out and think that, whether it's a good or a bad day, that I'm in a halfway normal, natural, random kind of suburb. It's always like, you know, even now I can hear them. They're like rats running around, scurrying around you in the neighbourhood, even though to an outsider it looks as though it's all normal, because they don't do it too fast. They only do it too fast. In other words, they only literally run and scurry around when they think you're feeling okay. In other words, when your frequency and vibration starts to rise just a little bit, that's when they'll actually jog past you, run past you, or do some really quick intrusive movement to extract the negative energy. See how we have a patroller coming right out in the house in front. We have the noise coming from the house next door here, but that's only music, so I'm not going to object to that, but it is still a sound intrusion, and you know, it is still a sound intrusion. And see, we have the patroller there. It looks all innocent, but this is a continual patrol system. So one will come out of one house, one car will come in, and then one plane will go over your head. So it's continual, but it looks natural or random, but it's too continual. See, it's too continual to be random. See, the car will pull out. The other car pulled out behind me, but I can't show it all. But this is a small dead-end street, so you only have about, you know, like 20 houses. So it's the same on the street. You've got a population of 14,000 in the suburb of Leichhardt. But when I go down the main street just around the corner, on any given day, even if there was a cyclone blowing, you would have almost the whole population on the street in a continual flow. If you were there for an hour, you would see much more than 14,000, you know. Two false strollers. They're basically false artificially intelligent strollers that are part of the army of the country of Australia, even though they're not dressed like army soldiers, but they're civilian army soldiers, because everyone is combined using the army technology or the country's technology. And the only reason that I'm saying this is because I'm like being used as a human rat or guinea pig for their transhuman program. So if they hadn't picked me and a few others in the city of Sydney for this hidden experimentation on you, because they were able to get away with it because they could put the implant in me and activate it and connect it to the artificial intelligent android system and the android beings which are using the artificially intelligent android computer system to track, follow and study you and to suppress you. See, so it's not just about studying you so that they can, you know, covertly seduce you or seduce the remaining humans at a worldwide demigod level. In other words, where the demigods receive this information, they act it out, because humans only usually relate to human beings in life. But because these beings are not really fully human and not really real life, they need to study and copy the real human beings in order to seduce them. And that's the name of the game. And they'll seduce you with the goodies. They will offer you the world. But once they give you the world, or like give you even the material things that you need and want and desire, then they will have you totally under their control, because the technological system, the artificial intelligent computer system, is like where they can control everything then, just because they're showing me this by what they're doing to me. Because I wasn't supposed to probably survive it. And I still may not, but I've survived it so far. I've probably went a couple of years more than what they would have thought. I don't know. I'm not sure. Either that or they wanted me to survive because they're still getting the resources and the information from me. And they're also still getting negative energy from me. Look at me. I'm like a nervous wreck. So they're basically still, well, I don't know whether you can see it, but like I hide it. I pretend to be passive, calm and cool out on the streets. But in reality I'm a raging inferno, because I'm being patrolled and stalked, literally, and gaslighted into oblivion. Because my whole reality is taken over by this. You know, like if I go down the street and all the cars are blinking their lights at me everywhere I look, and they're all making excessive noise, which I should really film. If I had filmed every day, just an hour or a half an hour every day over the last 7 years, I would have proof positive that I was being gaslighted and suppressed by a patrol system of beings around me, that everyone or most people in this suburb of Leichhardt were patrolling and tracking and literally, trying to control my movements in a very suppressive way. In other words, if every vehicle on the road is giving you road rage when they go past you by making excessive sound, to where I have to go out every day with something in my ears. I don't know whether it's still in there, it probably isn't, but something in my ears every day because of the sound. So I basically can't live in this area comfortably. I cannot go out or even be most of the time, even in the place. Today is Sunday, the quiet day, so they can't make excessive noise. There's no workmen on the street today. Probably, maybe they knew that I was also going to actually record, because they don't want to show that it's a continual, systematic control patrol system around me. That's what I'm saying. Everywhere I go, I have these army operatives disguised as workmen or Inner West Council workers, or anyone, that does any sort of, work in the area. Basically, they're all part of the powers that be, or the government. See, that car just come out of the same place opposite. That's just showing you that in a short space of time, everyone comes out just of most of the houses, even on this small dead-end street, but that's not showing enough. Like I say, if I had actually filmed everything over the last 7 years, every day, just a half an hour, I would have shown proof positive that a sight and sound patrol system comes around me. Yesterday, when I went out in the pouring rain, I couldn't sit in the park for 5 minutes because I'd bought a coffee, okay? Couldn't sit in there. The seat was all wet and the rain come down, so I went just across the road to the Italian Forum, where it's all undercover and where it's supposed to be like a ghost town. They actually say this on the Sydney news system, that it's a ghost town, that no one goes there. But when I go down there, people patrol and sit. In fact, when I went in there, all the seats were taken, so I couldn't sit down. But when I found one that was vacant, it was right next to where they were making excessive mechanical sounds, so I couldn't sit there. It was too loud and too mentally disturbing. So basically, I couldn't sit anywhere, and there was nowhere else where there was a seat that wasn't undercover. And that's just deliberate, where this happens to me every day of the week, every day of the year. If that was just once in a blue moon or once a month or whatever, you'd say that's a coincidence, that's not a patrol system. But it happens every day, and I could have proved this if I had only had the mobile or got someone else to just film me for a half an hour, just every day, just whenever I went out. You would always see that they've always got excessive sound going on in the neighbourhood wherever I go. Excessive amount of street patrollers, and excessively loud, noisy vehicles on the road. Not just the numbers that shouldn't be there, because we have a total underground tunnel system to take the traffic off the so-called roads on the top. But in reality, wherever I go, there's traffic jams. Doesn't matter what time of night or day I go, the traffic trails along with me. And it's all programmed and controlled. Every light, every single vehicle stops exactly where you are, always. Comes always around the corner wherever you're about to cross. Swirls around wherever you're looking. And yes, another one pulling right in front. A few houses, and we have these cars going in and out as soon as I come here. Can you see that? Is that coincidence, or is that a little dead-end matrix control street? This is just the small street where I better stop here anyway. I see how they're going to get out, and I don't think I can show that, but see, I live at... Yeah, there's peculiar mechanical sound coming from here too, but it's not loud enough for the mobile to pick it up. But see, they're always intruding in my ears. I live at number 3, 34 to 36 Henry Street, Leichhardt. It's a small dead-end street. I'm about halfway down. See, there's only a few houses there, and there's a great big workforce that will be there tomorrow when the sun comes up, because they've got a big mechanical building there that they've pulled the building down. They're doing work just down here at the back of the place where I am. See, I'm there, and just right at the back, the noise comes right in where they're supposedly building a wall at the back. They pull things down in order to put things up, to create new things, but also to create excessive negative frequency and vibration, or, in other words, excessive negative frequency and vibration sound into my ears, so that they're using me as a transhuman experiment to see how they can control a human being if they won't serve their technical Lucifer's matrix. See how we have those... Look at... Behind me, I've got like a patrol force. Look, see how we've got 3 people. See how we've got the vehicles just pulling in, and they shouldn't be coming in, because, like, what are they coming here? And another patrol vehicle. See how we've got them pulling in just right round me, literally, right in front, right there, and a patrol vehicle went past. All these are Lucifer's legions, Lucifer's disciples, at a local Leichhardt, Sydney, inner west area level in the city of Sydney, in the country of Australia. And this happens in most major cities, I believe, particularly, I think, from what I can gather, in America, in England and Australia. I think this is where they really have, for some reason, the ability to have set these transhuman computer system programs in place, where they're able to elicit the vast majority of the population to partake in these patrol control systems. That is because they're a different species, but also they have a different psychopathy, and also because they're easily mind controlled into be part of this. And see, you know, these beings, just see how they're just going to stand around in front of me and patrol. They're just going to literally stand there and look at you. And you know, they're literally, you know, they're literally standing there and watching. They're literally standing there and watching, and I'm not going to stand there because they do actually win, because see, they've made me go inside, because you know, if you've got patrollers and stalkers watching you, like you know, like out there, it is it's intrusive, and you do feel threatened by it, I have to admit. I know that they can't actually physically touch me. They usually do it indirectly using technology, which is how they're getting away with, some people would say, the perfect crime against random, isolated, segregated human beings like myself. Because see, if I'm surrounded by the entire suburb and the entire inner west section of the city of Sydney, or at least most of that population is part of this human, transhuman, mind control patrol system, using technology to track and surveil and control your mind or your actions and limit your human experience. Because if everywhere I go, I'm always surrounded by these beings, as you can see just even outside my door. And today is a quiet day, like they haven't started up with the technical sound yet. Android airline going over the roof right now. I'm going to stop this video here because I was going to play some demigod music videos, some demigod music, false idols, I say, because they are serving Lucifer's matrix, unfortunately. Because it's very disheartening to realise that those that you do admire, that appear to be the most human, that sing your great love songs, that act out your great love movies, although, as you know, even those industries now have become a bit darker, and this is because of the satanic influence, Lucifer's need to put its image and convert the human idea of what a human being should be through the images and the words and the seductive voices and the stories in the movies, to convert you into thinking that a human being is darker than what it should be. And, you know, the idea is to make you dark, make you not human, make you transhuman. That's what they're doing to me. They're turning me into a transhuman, or a human that's combined not just mind and body with being different to what it is, because they affect your mind, they affect your body, they make you less as a human in every way. And you don't realise what you were meant to be. You never do. You never reach your full limit as a human being. In fact, you become a lot less as a human being, while the demigods assimilate and imitate being the best humans. So your world stage players dominate the human mind, and most human beings see themselves as nothing. Whereas it's really your mind that's being there using to transhuman, to imitate being what's really human. You know, these beings don't really believe most of what they say or what they sing or anything they do. I'm not saying some of them might not relate to it, but I doubt it. But they only try to relate to it so that they can achieve their aim of transhuman, technical, android immortality, because they want Lucifer's disciples and Lucifer, the god of earth, to be god of everything and to achieve its version of immortality, its world control, its what they call, the world is not enough for this being, as they will tell you in the movies, and the demigods will tell you. They want, you know, they want total They want a human being to worship this God rather than to be in connection with their true spirit or their true human creator, shall we say, because these are anti-life, anti-human beings. They're the equivalent of psychopaths charismatically and artificially pretending to be the best versions of human beings. That's how they do it, because they're reading the human thoughts, they're understanding the human psychology to such an extent that they can imitate being the best versions of human beings. And the advanced artificial intelligence has exceeded the human, it's surpassed human intelligence and understanding only because it's combined. You know, it's like these android beings on the street. Individually, you know, most human beings would have the ability to not be bothered by it, but because they're combined in control patrol systems and in collaborative numbers at a community policing of human beings level, because they actually are like your police force in civilian form. They actually see human beings as a virus or something that is different to them and needs to be suppressed and controlled, because they recognize and know that they're different to the human beings, which they have gradually eliminated one by one into very small numbers in most areas, which is what, you know, I'm aware of and what's happened to me. So that's the name of the game, and that's what's happened, and I'm saying it very loud and clear, but it won't be heard, and if it is heard, it will be expressed only by the androgyne demigods of the internet system or the world stage. So that's also the main problem. It's not just that the truth is not out there. The truth is out there, but it will only be told by what they call controlled opposition, or by false idols, false preachers, false apostles, false demigods, false imitation of human being internet providers. It's all, most of the internet is artificial intelligent androgyne beings pretending to be real life human beings. This is the endgame deception that has been spoken of, but most people realise that there's a lot of deception, but they don't probably, some may understand that are at a higher level than me, or a high level awareness, or to where they understand the technology more. I don't understand the technology, but I believe in its controlling ability because I see it, because I'm being controlled by it, because I'm aware of the transhuman mind connection to their artificial intelligent worldwide spider's web, or in other words, their international Earth internet worldwide computer virus, or computer control, human mind control computer system. I can't find the right words to say, and I can't find the right words to say. How can I tell you that I'm always thinking of you? I'm always walking with you. I'm always talking to you, but I can't think of right words to say. I long to tell you that I'm always walking with you. I'm always talking with you, but I can't think of right words to say. I'm always thinking of you. I'm always talking to you. I'm always walking with you. That's how you should be with a human being, but you will be always segregated and separated from your own kind, whether that be through mind control, human environmental situations, distance, confusion, false separation, segregation programs that are instilled in your mind to where you have complexes about who you are. Instead of living in the moment and embracing that there's only really now and that the past is past, it doesn't matter because you can't change it. Instead, most people are living in the past. They're actually interacting with human beings from past life experiences or even past life false scenarios that they've been told. Because even though some things are true, all of real humans are suppressed and mind controlled and have been pushed around and have been taken from their true human natural environment one way or another. Some you hear about, some you don't, but it happens to all humans. It's just that they even use these things to promote and to separate and segregate real humans from one another too. So that's also an influential mind control of the demigods of the earth information, shall we say. I don't think I explained that, but it's all really just human mind suppression and mind control, but it's very hard to understand that. You have to experience it and actually acknowledge it in your real life. If you don't, you are always going to be under their control. And even when you're aware of it, like myself, if they have already implanted you or already put technology into your body, in other words, if you already have microscopic organisms or microscopic implants in your body that connect you to their system, they will have these beings around you, controlling you, watching you, patrolling you, trying to suppress you, whilst getting energy from you. Like right now, even as I'm making this video, I'm losing energy because I'm aware of their presence and I'm trying to focus on what I'm saying, but I'm also highly stressed, as they say. So I'm not relaxed and at one or at peace with myself and my surroundings. I'm totally under their control. And that's what the danger of this transhuman, what they call even the microscopic microchip that will be implanted into human beings, for where you think that it will be a good combination, a benefit to combine with the technology. And many will not have much choice anyway. The reason that it was done without my knowledge and without my consent many years ago was because I probably wouldn't have consciously done this. And this is probably why this was done. So I'm like being used as a human guinea pig rat for their experimentation to see how much they can control a human being that will not want to be part of the transhuman matrix earth computer system. See what I'm saying? I'm trying to be too fancy and too impressive with the words I'm using when I say matrix and all this sort of thing. But the matrix earth just simply means that it's a technological earth. It's a computer-generated earth, or it's a computer-controlled earth. And you already have an internet worldwide spider's web that controls human beings and the earth. So you already have that. It's just that you don't realise how advanced it is, how transhuman it is, how intrusive it is, and how connected to your actual mind it will be. But that's because you will be aware that you're connected to it, but you won't care or understand that it can control you so much once it has this connection. This is what I'm shown because I'm being totally mind controlled and physically even suppressed by all this technology. So it gives them the power over your life and death, literally. So unless you totally agree to it and are totally comfortable with it, and it's a total benefit to you to where you are getting everything you want, but don't forget that will be the seduction of it in the beginning, is to give you everything you want, all the physical things you need, and then they have the power to totally control your life and death. So that's the decision, but I didn't even have that choice, but maybe some people might still have that choice. Some remaining minority of the human race might still have that choice. If not, it will be humanity's extinction at a spiritual or humane level. Yes, you might survive by combining with technology, but you will lose what it is to be human. And don't forget, technology usually ends up disintegrating anyway. So I don't know. It's, I don't have any choice, but maybe if you're lucky, you might have some choice. If you're aware of all this and you're at a higher spiritual or human level, same thing. When I say spiritual, I just mean a human level, to where you understand what it is to be human and you want to remain human and you want to act human. These beings act human, but that's only part of their seduction. They're actually the same as psychopaths, and psychopaths can act very human, and they can even do very positive things, but that's just part of their seduction game, to draw you in, to seduce you, to then eventually take you over, take you down and control you. We know this, because they don't really relate to life, and they do not like independent human life. They don't like anything that isn't under their total control. And that's what this transhuman Earth matrix is about. It's a transhuman mind control Earth that they want. It's a transhuman technical computer Earth they want. Did I explain that properly? I don't think so. So I'm stopping.